always thought it was called Easter Island, but it's mostly called Rapa Nui, and it's one of the most isolated, inhabited places in the world. It's here that hundreds of stone statues silently watch the sea. These statues, called Moai, were carved to honor the dead by Polynesian people who settled here more than 1,000 years ago. Our journey began in Tampa, Florida, then north to Atlanta, then a 9-hour flight to Santiago where we spent a couple of nights, and then a 5-hour flight to Easter Island. It can be a little bit of a challenge to get to this island. Only 1 or 2 planes a day arrive here, and they're all from Santiago. And if you plan on overstaying your time here, well, you won't be able to. You have to come with some documentation that shows how and when you're leaving.
But we weren't worried about that. We had just gotten here, so it was time to get busy and really check out these guys.
And of course the entire island that is the size of just roughly about Walt Disney World in Florida. And with help from our local tour guide who is a native, we learned a lot.
That geologist defines as.
Most researchers believe the statues were primarily male figures. The long faces, strong noses, and heavy brows reflect the idealized image of powerful male ancestors who were believed to hold spiritual power, also called mana, that protected their communities. Agahana is an important archaeological site along the island's south coast. It's known for its fallen moai and long ceremonial platforms. This is the first time we saw moai that were lying on their sides. And why? It's a long story, but mostly because tribes were not getting along. A very ancient ceremony took place here. It's called Birdman. It sits right next to a beautiful volcanic crater. Our next stop was the quarry, where all of the moais throughout the island were actually made. How they got them there to their resting places is still a little bit of a mystery. Today, nearly 400 moai remain at the quarry in various stages of completion. Some lie flat against the hillside where they were being carved. Others stand upright but are partially buried, which is why many appear to be just heads. Their torsos are actually underground and can't be seen. Of course, many were moved to numerous locations across the island. Now, these statues weigh about the same as a large city bus packed with people. So how did they do that? Many people believe they used ropes and moved them sort of like you would a refrigerator. One side and then another side at a time. Once they got there, they got their own platform and, very importantly, a pair of eyes. Off in the distance, we saw them, probably the most famous moai on the island. 15 of them standing shoulder to shoulder, backs to the sea, faces turned inland as if still guarding their people. They seem like stone travelers who finally reached their resting place. If you were to look at a map of the world, or even just the Pacific Ocean, Rapa Nui looks like a tiny little dot, maybe a pinprick, if you could see it. But this island is home to 9,000 people, and half of them are native to the island. If you live in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, you're bound to have a beach, and we visited the most famous one. My husband and a travel buddy jumped into the water, and surprise, they said, well, it was cold. Every year on Rapa Nui, they hold an annual festival. We were here at just the right time. They were celebrating their Polynesian heritage, language, music, and traditional skills. We saw opening night rehearsals taking place in the only city on the island where most people live. We also saw some of the competitions. As the sun set on our final night, it was time to move on. We were heading south to Patagonia. To get there, we flew back to Santiago where we spent one night and then moved on to Buenos Aires, the capital of Argentina. This is the place where tango began. We were able to watch some professionals, and they gave us a lesson, but I'll spare you those details. We then moved on to watch the changing of the guards in a local square. And we got a view of some of the most important neighborhoods in the area. This one is very colorful. Have you ever heard of a beef sommelier? Well, I hadn't, but we learned a lot about how important beef is here in Argentina. We then flew south to a region called Patagonia. It's sort of a mystery place. Not a lot of people have heard about it, but it does take up about 1/3 of the countries of Argentina and Chile. We soon arrived at Glacier National Park, which is roughly about the size of the state of Delaware. We did some hiking around one of the most popular and beautiful glaciers.
When you come up to Perito Moreno Glacier, you have to be prepared for all kinds of weather. When we left our hotel room, it was bright and sunny, very breezy, and I had sunscreen and sunglasses on. Now, the wind has died down, but it's raining.
This glacier is known for its calving. Calving is the process where large chunks of ice break off the edge of a glacier or ice shelf and fall into the water. It sounds a little bit like thunder, but once you hear it, it's usually too late to get a picture. But I was lucky and I was able to get this shot. After that, we took some R&R in an ice bar. We then crossed a border going back into Chile. We saw some beautiful wildlife and we entered Torres del Paine National Park. These first pictures really do speak for themselves. Pumas can be seen in this area, but it's extremely rare, and we saw one just as we entered the gates.
The views here are absolutely stunning. What you have to watch out for is the weather. It's at a yellow right now. If it moves to the red, we will have to stop hiking. Just minutes ago, we were feeling some sleet and rain on our faces.
We continued walking along the paths. The wind did continue, but fortunately the rain stopped and we could see the beautiful views. This place is huge, about the size of 2 Yosemite National Parks.
I think that's really the beauty of Patagonia, hearing the winds, the wildlife, the birds chirping around, while at the same time having these ginormous mountains and glaciers around. It's just, the reason why I keep on going back is because it makes me feel so small in a world that is, it's gigantic, and it's a humbling experience.
As if this trip could get any better, we then boarded a cruise ship to head even farther south through the Strait of Magellan. The next morning we boarded Zodiacs and went ashore to look at even more beautiful scenery.
been talking a lot about the weather, how it's rainy one minute, sleet, even snow, at the top of the mountains anyway. But today we got some beautiful weather. It's our first full day on our cruise and Patagonia is beautiful. It's time to just close your eyes, take a deep breath, and take it all in.
Regarding like what are we doing right now in the old fashioned, we have please come around, you can go around the table.
Right now I'm standing on the top deck of the ship. The ship has 154 passengers and is represented by about 10 countries. It's very international. Tomorrow is a big day because if the weather holds, we might be able to step foot on Cape Horn. Expedition ship is coming back. It's going to be a go. We're about to find out. There it is. We just heard an all good. We're going.
Very few ships actually land at Cape Horn because the weather is extremely rough. Passengers must go ashore by small Zodiac boats. The winds are often 50 to 70 miles per hour with very rough seas from the Drake Passage. Thousands of lives have been lost and there have been many shipwrecks throughout the years. Only one family lives here. There's a small church, a small house, and a soldier who stays here with his wife and children and has been here for quite some time.
I'm just curious what made you decide to move here and stay here for a year.
Stay here, but in the life muy peace
Peace and quiet.
Yeah.
Wow, what a phenomenal experience, but soon we had to go back to our ship. We did take the Zodiacs out one more time that afternoon to see a place that was once the site of the region's largest native settlements, and it had some beautiful views.
We disembarked from our ship, arriving in Ushuaia, the most southern city in the world. And we stumbled upon a museum, a very interesting one of living history. Come on, let's go inside and find out what this building holds.
In the 1800s, this was a prison built by Argentina at the southern tip of South America. Prisoners were sent there because the location was isolated, cold, and nearly impossible to escape, and the country wanted to increase its population down in this area. After a brief stay in Ushuaia, we had to leave all this beauty behind and head back to Buenos Aires and our flight home to the United States. I'll see you next time.